Good morning. How is everyone today? I am Anna Walker, otherwise known as FELTit, and I come to you Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. and bring you some felty goodness and some fiber love and some ideas, some links, some tips, some tricks in your own felting experience, and I'm glad you're here with me today. Today we're going to talk about industrial felt and what you can do with that as a base for your needle felting. I've got a couple of examples, and then we're going to go through a quick little project, okay? So I'm going to turn the camera down and we will get started. Now, a couple of the examples. This is needle felted silk, which I would not recommend. Having done it once was enough. But silk on top of an industrial felt purse that I probably picked up at Joann's on sale is my guess from what I can recall. But it's a nice little shoulder bag. I can undo the strap enough to go over my shoulder. I can even wear it as a hip pack. And I gave one just last week to my granddaughter, and if I cinch the strap all the way up, it was perfect for her to have a crossbody purse that she can carry her little babies in. So this is, you know, one type of industrial felt product that you might find out there. Another type that some of you have seen when I've been at shows is, and I'm going to tilt the camera up just a little bit, is this wonderful basket. Now, obviously this part is not industrial felt, but the gray is industrial felt. And I decided to needle felt my favorite word, stab, onto the front of it, you know, stabthingsintoexistence.com. And I am going to further embellish this. This was, you know, I've been using this with just stab on it for quite a while, and I think it needs some more embellishments. But this is another item that you can find out in the stores. I also picked up, couldn't tell you where I picked up this particular basket, but I did pick up some smaller industrial felt baskets at Target not too long ago. So keep your eyes open. You may even find these at the dollar store, some smaller, you know, little felt, industrial felt bins. But these are wonderful fun to use as a blank canvas for you to create with needle felting. Excuse me again. These, and I'm going to turn the camera back down, these are the sheets of industrial felt that you can find at Michael's and at Hobby Lobby. And usually you find them and they're rolled up like this, okay, and they've got a label around them. But you've got a nice 12 by 12 piece that you can either use as is, as an entire surface upon which to felt, or you can get 9 coaster size felt pieces out of each one, and you can create some wonderful coasters that you can use as gifts and such. But you can find some really cool colors. This baby blue, we've got a nice navy, there's a bright orange, purple, my favorite always, and green. I've also seen a couple of other colors, and you can see that it's about, let's see how wide that is. I want to say it's about a 1/4 inch thick. So this is sturdy stuff. You could use this as a base to create a little felted clutch. Add a zipper to the top, embellish on both sides, line or don't line as you like, but you can do all kinds of cool things with this. Cut it in half on the angle and create needle felted pennant designs, and then stitch them together with some bias tape to hold them all together. There's so many things you can do with this industrial felt. Now, I call it industrial felt because it's produced to use for things like engine liners, roof liners. It's in between, used as sort of gasket type material. It's been used for a lot of times, a long time in a lot of different industries, because it's made of material that can put up with wear and tear and abuse. And it's been, you know, in the past few years, it's been sort of discovered by the crafting community because it does have a wonderful applications for crafting. And needle felting in particular is a great way to go. Now, caveat. You want to use a size 38 or a size 36 needle. And I grabbed the wrong one. Where's my 36? No. There's my 36. You want to use a 36 needle for this. And the reason you want to use a 36 is this is tough stuff. So when you're working with this, you want to have a larger needle so that you can get the fibers to properly migrate through this industrial felt. Okay, so this will save you from breaking needles if you're using finer needles. This will save you by using a size 38 needle. It's 36 needle, excuse me. So today I want to show you how to, you know, create a fun little coaster. This is my mark that I sign my items with, and I'm going to show you how to do, you know, whatever you want. You can create a design, you can do a monogram kind of like this, you can, you know, do a squiggly line, whatever you want. Now, when I'm using these for coasters, I like to needle felt on the color that's going to be predominant. And then I like to back it with another piece of this industrial felt. You can either, you know, choose to do an iron-on interfacing that'll fuse it together. I'm actually going to stitch around the outside of this, do some hand stitching around the outside, just a simple little blanket stitch just around the outside to hold these two pieces together. But it makes for a nice, smooth, and, you know, prettier surface than the back side of the needle felting. It also gives you a lot more absorbency for using this coaster as it was meant to be used, you know, with a cup on top of it or a glass of iced tea that's sweating in the summertime. This is going to help an awful lot. So let's make another little monogram. And since we're doing monograms, I'm going to make one for my bestie. And I'm just going to take a little bit of fiber. And I've just got some white fiber. I'm just using white because that's what I had handy. Now, a tiny little bit of fiber, okay? Not very much at all. But I want to draft it out, want to draw it out so that it's not going to be super, super thick and clumpy. I want to be able to maneuver this and to manipulate this a little bit as I am creating this monogram for my best friend. And, you know, as I'm pulling with this hand is just putting enough tension on the rest of the fiber to hold it in place, but not so much that I can't draft out that fiber, because I just want to draft it out a little bit so that it's a little bit thinner. If you're a spinner or if you know someone who spins, this is what they do before they start spinning wool into yarn. And they just draft it out so that they've got a thinner bit, and how much they draft it out depends on how thick of a yarn they're wanting to make. I'm just wanting to have, you know, a nice little bit of pencil roving here that I can then use to create my monogram. And see that short piece and how much fiber we were able to draft that down to? So I am going to start this, and you'll see why I'm doing this when I get to the end of this. I'm going to start this right in the middle. And I'm not going to do this upside down because I don't think I can do this upside down, trying to think of letters and how they need to be. So I am going to start right here in the middle, and I'm starting from the center of that drafted out piece, and you'll see why here in just a second. Let me get this. All right, there we go. I am just going to get the end, the folded end here started. And I'm basically making the back of both letters that are going to be on this particular little monogrammed coaster. And you see how the size 36 needle is even resisting a little bit that industrial felt. This stuff is not, I mean, it's machine produced, and it's not wool fibers, it's man-made fibers. So it's not going to behave quite as nicely as most wool and other natural fibers will behave. But then again, cotton doesn't behave very well when you're trying to needle felt it. So, you know, you can see just from the little divot there how much that's having to be, you know, forced through to get that to come around. All right, so now I'm going to take and find both sides, and I'm going to create one side at a time. And what I like to do is sort of baste my connection points and then come around and get the other edges. I can come in along the sides and clean those letters up as I'm going about this. And I want to get this a little bit twisted so that it doesn't come loose. Just a tiny little bit. I'm going to connect it down here. And then come in around. Like I said, I'll come back and I'll clean this up here in a second. And I'm going to hold and just draft that right off and bring that up on the back edge of that bee. Now I've got it basted in place. We've got our first bee. And yes, I said first bee because there are 2 bees for my best friend. And I want to connect it right here in the same spot. And then I'm going to pull this out so that we get as much of a mirror image as I can. Yeah, I don't like that, so I'm going to pull it up because it wasn't quite wide enough. Let's go a little wider here. And you saw that I just pulled that straight up, and I pulled that off rather easily because I hadn't gone too far in the felting process, so I was able to pull that out and draft it right on up again. And I'm going to look and do the same thing here. I think I'm going to pull this right here and anchor it at the base, and then let's see about getting this as mirror imaged as we can. I think we're doing okay. All right, I'm going to pull another line straight up here because I want this to have a nice sturdy spine in the center. All right, pull this right on off. It looks like this side could use those extra fibers, so I'm just going to bring it around and add it to what's there. Now, I'm looking at the lower portion of the bees, and this side looks like it could use a little bit more fiber. So I just want to take this and add this fiber in right over the top of the first line so that I can make that line just a little heavier. Okay, so there's the basis of it, and we know that it's felting through because we can lift it up and figure the shadow on the other side. And now what I need to do is go in and go over each of these lines solidly. I need to felt the devil out of this and make sure that those lines are nice and connected to the base of our industrial felt. And then I'll show you how we're going to go through and make those lines prettier and give them a little bit more contour and grace. But first we want to make sure they're connected. And it doesn't matter how you work this, you know, you can work one side and then work the other side. I'm just trying to make sure that I've got a nice solid felting going for the fibers all the way around, and then I can come in and I can contour. Okay, so I've got my BB for my best friend. Now I'm going to take and I'm going to come in at an angle from each side of where the fibers are so that I can get those lines to look lovely and intentional. And I can even come in at these corners and make those very, very defined here, especially where we've got the upper portion of the bee and the lower portion of the bee connecting. We want to make sure that that's nice and defined. And we go along on both the inside edge and the outside edge to just bring these in and make them look as smooth as we can. Keep turning your project as you need to. Along the top, I want to make sure that this line looks like it goes just straight across. I can still add fiber if I need to make this appear as though it's a single line that's going over the entire monogram here. And I may do that, but I want to get all the way around on both the inside and the outside first. And as I'm working my bestie's initials here, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, now I know why BB-8 was called BB-8, because when you put B and B together along the spines, it looks like BB-8. I don't know, maybe I'm slow to the party and I didn't get it and I should have gotten it before. Who knows? Let me go through the center here. And we're just making sure that those lines are as clean as we want them to be. Now I want to work on the inside of these curves. And you'll see that the direction that I'm using the needle is the direction that the fibers tend to move. That's exactly how felting works. If you need something to go in a particular direction, stab in that direction. And now our smaller portions of our bees, make sure we get those corners really well. Come in and fix that corner after I do this curve. Let's fix the corner again. Work the curve. But you see how quick and easy you can do these projects. This would be a great way to get started on your Christmas gift giving. You could make everybody a monogrammed coaster, and that way they'd know which cup was theirs because it has their initials on it. If you've got a regular game group night, you can have a coaster for everybody, and that way you don't need to worry about marking the cups, because if they put it on their coaster, you know it's theirs. And we know that it's gone all the way through. Look at that texture that's come through from us stabbing. And I've got a wonderful little monogrammed coaster ready to go to my friend. Now, if I were being a little bit, ornery, I'd put pink or purple on the back of this, but my best friend's favorite colors are in the green and orange area, so I'm probably going to cut a green base to go with this. You could keep the colors the same so that you didn't notice that there was any difference between the top and the bottom if you want. But that is how easy it is to create a cool little monogrammed coaster for anybody in your life and using industrial felt. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope it's given you some ideas on how you can use industrial felt and work with your needle felting. I will be posting a link to my favorite places to buy things like felting needles, felt products, fibers, the whole shebang, so that if there's something that you're needing, you can go and use one of these suppliers that I've trusted for a long time. If you need a basic kit, if you need a deluxe kit, if you just want to try it out and want a mini kit, I have those available on the website. So go to stabthingsintoexistence.com, take a look at the shop, and you'll be able to see what's available. There are even, if you have a kit already, there are even bags of bits and stuff from my fiber bar. So the fiber bar is something that I carry with me when I do in-person classes, and there's no reason why you can't, benefit from that by getting an assortment of lots of different types of fibers and colors that you can add to a kit that you've already got. So head over to the website and see if there's something that I can't help you with. Thanks for being with me today, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.